Online with Amr The Internet Guy. Stream it today on your favorite podcast platforms. This podcast focuses on entrepreneurs and business owners, helping them become more successful in conducting their business on the web without being stuck with technology, getting a headache, pulling their hairs out, or buying expensive software.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode number 23 of Online. So first, before we start, I want to thank each and every one of you who have left a comment. These comments really make me happy, so please keep them coming. I'm glad that many of you are enjoying the show, even though each episode is about an hour. And believe me, I'm trying to cram every episode in like half an hour or maximum 40 minutes. But my idea is that when you come on my show as a guest, you're kind of the star of the show, and I want to give you more opportunity to tell the world not only about what you do, but your story. I do believe that each person who comes on the show adds a little bit of, experience and flair. So I don't want to cut that short, but I'm working on even me talking less, which is probably not possible. Today we have Mr. Moe Manavipour, and he takes us through his journey from IT to fitness boot camps, franchising, pivoting online for the first time, having to customize fitness training, and winning challenges while helping the local community. Mo explains also how making a personal training affordable helped him differentiate his new business in an industry that has a really fierce competition. So without further ado, let's get in. Hey Mo, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you, Amr?
All good, thank you. So Mo, please, I want you to tell the audience where you're located and what you do right now.
So I personally live in Coquitlam, so I'm not too far from you. And the gym or the studio that we own, Maryhill Fit Body Bootcamp, is actually located in Port Coquitlam on Maryhill Bypass and Broadway, right in the Maryhill Business Park. It's a nice community to be in and have a business in. So we've been there since July of 2019.
Okay.
It's coming up to 2 years. Just young company, if you will, like in terms of age of companies goes, they were only a couple years old.
Young company, yeah.
Yeah.
And what did you do before that?
It's interesting. I wasn't in fitness. Like I didn't do any fitness coaching or anything before. My background is IT. Actually, I spent 18 years in IT and doing sort of support and help desk and help desk management and outsource IT, project management, things like that for medium-sized companies for years, basically. And just faith had it that, things happened. And
so from a job that has you kind of sitting on a desk to a job that has you moving all the time.
Yes.
I know that in IT, like not everyone is sitting on a desk. Of course, when you say support, you're probably going round and round installing networks and things like that. So there's a lot of movement, but it's not necessarily fitness.
No, and to be honest, my job was basically sitting at the desk 8 to 10 hours a day because
Wow.
I was a service manager and the technicians were doing all the work. But
you're handling the tickets and distributing them on the team.
Yeah, making sure that they got the right things and the right people were working on the right stuff and managing the project. There was some site visits and walking around. That was the part that I really enjoyed the most, dealing with the people and dealing with solving problems. And my wife, Layla, she was a personal trainer and she was in fitness, and that's how I got into this.
So this is where you got the idea from.
Basically, yeah, we wanted to start, like, since we got married like 16 years ago, we wanted to work together. We wanted to do something together, but we were in two different planets.
Worlds. Yeah, planets.
Worlds. I was in IT and she hates, well, hates is a strong word, but she dislikes technology. She stays away from it as much as she can.
Yeah.
Unless she's forced to use it, which these days you are. But she was in fitness and she loved it. She enjoyed it. And, around 2017 was when, things happened and I ended up leaving the corporate world and starting my own consulting
Mm.
business. And then we started talking, maybe we should start something for you, maybe open up this place. And soon I left my consulting all to the side and on the back burner, and I jumped right in both feet. And we
So you had to have Layla coaching you about that world.
basically, yeah, I was a student for a while, and then now I'm taking on my own nutrition certifications. I'm actually studying
Wow.
nutrition certifications, and because I deal with a lot of I coach people on various things. I have the knowledge now. I just need the certification to be able to comfortably coach
Yeah.
coach and guide people, right?
I'm interested to know, like, if, because I'm trying not to mention COVID again. Like, we've had enough of that word already. But like, I'm going to 2019. When someone wants to venture into having a gym or a fitness club, what are the challenges? Like, I mean, for somebody who's never done it before, I always think the location is the biggest issue, because you need the space, and things here are not cheap. But I'm sure there's more than one challenge.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. For us, the biggest challenge, as you said, was finding the right location, because rents are expensive. Then you have to deal with the zoning, and you're allowed to have this type of business in this area, but the next building over you can't. And there's a lot of regulations and zoning that you have to deal with to find the right spot. And then you got to deal with, is this going to actually work with, rents being the way they are in Vancouver. People don't realize what,
Yeah.
they complain about residential rents being expensive. Well, try
Try
having a
commercial.
commercial space.
Yeah,
when people told me,
we,
yeah, the restaurant downtown Vancouver pays 50 to 100,000 a month in rent, I was like, excuse me. But when I started looking into it myself, I was like, wow,
yeah,
uh, it's not cheap at all to try to get into a place, right? But after that, the next biggest challenge is getting the word out, really letting people know that you exist, letting people know what you offer, and why are you different than the thousand other gyms that are within 10 blocks of you. So there's a lot of competition out there, and you have to stand out.
yeah.
You have to be different.
It's a very competitive space. So
Absolutely.
when the idea first hit you, what did you think? Like, here's what I see missing, and this is the gap that I want to fill. So what did you think was missing, or how did you want to differentiate?
So our biggest differentiator came down to time. Like, people spend hours at the gym. They go to the gym and they're there for like an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
I have family members that spend like 2.5 hours every day, 5 days a week at the gym, even though you shouldn't be doing that, but they do. And when you start thinking about it, like with this day and age, with we all go to this place, and if you got a family, you got to take your kids to this practice, and then from that practice to this dance, and then that
Yeah.
school, and like there's a lot of things happening. So moms usually take care of a lot of this, and they end up not taking care of themselves. They put themselves on hold because they got to take care of the family, and they take care of the kids' needs and extracurricular activities. So our workouts are only 30 minutes. So from start to end, like all the workout, the warm up, the cool down, everything is 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
And the second differentiator is, I don't know if you've ever had a personal trainer, but personal training is extremely expensive to hire an actual personal, good personal trainer to coach you through.
I haven't, but I know that it's expensive.
And the second part of that was making personal training affordable. We offer we started, the model was we did group personal training. So we had a group of people that we worked with and then trained them, a couple of personal trainers, and work with them, and did the whole like form correction.
So this is like a class. right? Like
Yes,
yeah,
like it would be the workout would be such that anybody at any level could do.
yeah. And the
And
trainer would pass to make sure that everyone is doing it right. So
e-
it's not a
exactly.
one-to-one for the full length of the session, but it's similar to one-to-one because they take care of every single person in the room.
Yes, and they know their needs, they know their limitations. We have a lot of people with injuries and or recovering from previous surgeries and injuries. I have people that come in, they've had knee
Mhm.
replacement done,
Oh,
and now
so the
they're sort
recovery,
of
you can help them with the recovery.
yes, so we can help them strengthen their muscles around the joints and get a full like improve their full body and full mobility. I've had people avoid knee surgery after coming in for the sessions with
That's
our
good.
trainers, right? So the idea came from it needs to be short and it needs to be the absolute most bang for your buck. Essentially, you need to get the most for the time you're putting in, and you shouldn't need to do it more than 3 times a week. So that's where the idea came from. And then FitBody is actually a franchise. It's a U.S. franchise. So we started looking into it more, and we liked the culture and what they were offering, and what they stand for, which is transforming lives and helping people.
Okay,
Essentially,
can you say the name again, please, Mo? I think you said it too quickly.
Fit Body Bootcamp is the
Fit Body
franchise.
Bootcamp.
Yes.
That's the name of the gym, and it's a franchise.
Yes, and our location is called Mary Hill Fit Body Bootcamp.
Mary Hill Fit Body Bootcamp.
Yes.
And you're saying that the idea around it is that you can do your full workout in 30 minutes.
Yes.
And the differentiator was that you can do everything in 30 minutes and you also have a professional personal trainer available. So
Not only available, so they're designing the workout for you and they're
for you.
walking you through the workout. Right?
Okay, so
and also,
and that's for every time you come to the gym, right? It's not
every time. Every
okay.
time, and the workouts are different every time, so you don't end up doing the same repetitive workouts.
That's
So
interesting. So there's
everything
customization for every kind of for every person, but instead of you paying the personal trainer on your own, which will be expensive because you're only one person taking the trainer's time, it's a group of people, but still each one of them can get some kind of customization. I mean, I'm assuming it's not going to be fully customized because it's a group of people, but if somebody is recovering from an injury or has a higher or a lower ability, that can be adjusted within the group.
that's the beauty of it, Amr. It is customized for every single person that participates in the sessions, because as I said, we have a lot of different injuries. I have somebody recovering, or they can't do, let's say we're doing lunges or squats, and
yeah,
they
like
have
my knees are not strong enough. Yeah.
and you can't do squats. Well, that move gets modified, so you work the same muscle group, so you're strengthening your muscle, so you can eventually work your way towards doing a squat properly and safely. But the workout is literally redesigned for you. So just because the other 5 or 6, 7 people are doing squats and you can't do squats, that doesn't mean you stand there and watch while they go through the motions or do something else. You get the same muscle group working, just slightly different. You might be on your back doing something different, working your core. You might be doing it with some sort of support or a TRX. You're doing the supported squats, so you're doing a wall squat. So there's a lot of modifications that the personal trainers and the coaches create right on the spot for people that need the adjustments done, right? And they also are there to push you. So people get this hurts a little bit, I'm not going to go as hard, but they're there to help you push your limits and get that extra rep, because that's how you grow, that's how your body grows and gets strong, right?
Yes, sounds good. I have a question, but I think my lighting has an issue. I look pink somehow, so I'm gonna pause for a sec and go check the lighting.
Sure.
You have good lighting. I can see like it's right on your face and you look vibrant, and I look like I just came out of the grave somehow, like very pale. So Mo, like if this was going on in 2019 and then you had people coming in, And I'm assuming for every space there's a capacity. So what is the capacity? How many people can be there at one time in normal days, like in
So before this whole thing started and the pandemic hit, we could do easy 30 people, like 25 to 30 per session that we ran.
okay.
So, and then we obviously had rotations, and a group were doing one thing and then a different group. So they would be divided into like 3 or 4 groups, and they'll be moving around. But then all the new restrictions and everything that's happening, we've had to, as I said, we've had to revamp our business model literally 4 times. We've started a new business essentially, if you think about it, for the 4th time, to be able to keep people active, keep people healthy, keep people moving forward instead of being stuck trying to figure out what do I do, and then their health just deteriorates, which basically puts them at higher risk.
I'm interested to know
sick.
what happens. Like, okay, so the first time was probably what, March last year. Yeah, 2020.
2020, March 17 was when we were told.
So what happened? They told you to close down first completely, right?
Everybody, first lockdown happened, order came in, everything had to be shut down for, from what was it, March to June basically. And thankfully, with as I said, I have an IT background, so that was the lifesaver for me, because I literally jumped on, opened up a Zoom account, and bought a webcam. And actually, I borrowed one from home for my kids. I just grabbed the webcam, had a tripod. I took the TV from home to the location. We put it literally on a chair. We had a TV on a chair, sort of like there, and then a laptop hooked up to a camera, and we went on Zoom the next day.
So you could bring
overnight, we delivered
the trainers. They have to be alone in a room, but they're there. And then you'd broadcast, right? So you'd broadcast the training to the people watching at home, or
yes,
trying to do the exercise with the trainer.
They were actually doing Zoom with the cameras on, and the trainers are actually going through the workouts and also doing form correction. So they're looking at the TV. That's why we had a TV, and saying, "Hey, Susie, go down a little lower in your squats, and maybe, straighten your back." They're doing all
But this means also that you had to modify the training because people at home don't have the equipment.
Yes. So one of the things, like, the things happen for a reason. And before we sort of got into this whole gym and open up a studio, we actually designed and brought in our own brand of resistant bands under Custom Bodies Fitness. This is our own brand. And I've had all this inventory sitting around for a year and a half, essentially, that, we didn't do anything with.
Worth of bands. Yeah.
Yes, different resistant bands, like, bands that you could exchange handles, put handles on it with door anchors, the whole kit. It's a full workout kit that you can use and take anywhere with you. And so when this whole thing happened, we literally went around and we hand delivered to every single one of our members a package.
That's good. So you go knock on the door, here's your equipment.
Yes, literally, that's what we did. And we delivered. Anybody that could pick it up, they picked it up. And if they couldn't, I drove around town and I dropped off workout kits at every member we had at their doors. And they used the bands. They've been using them since March of 2020. And a lot of them are still online and working out with us online 3, 4, 5 times a week. And,
that's good. So your IT background made you kind of like more flexible, because, like, if I have to close the location because I can't get people in, I'm going to take that online. And then you probably jumped on the Zoom, like if it's early as March last year, it was before they changed their security stuff. And it was kind of like when they were having some problems.
It was before all of that. Basically, March, the day we closed, I think we closed on a Tuesday, and our first live session was Wednesday evening or Thursday morning. And my wife Layla had never done a workout in front of a camera. Our other coach
Mm.
had never done a workout in front of a camera. They had to figure out, okay, what are the
Yeah, you
moves
had
we
to
can
forget
actually
is the
do that people can actually do at home, and what equipment, like a lot of it has to be designed so people can do safely, because that's very important. One of our biggest focus is on creating safe workouts. So doesn't matter if someone is watching you or not, you can do it without risking major injury.
yeah.
You might be a little bit more sore, but you won't end up hurting yourself by doing the workouts. And to design the workout, it took a lot of energy and a lot of
Of
time
course.
just trying to figure out how do we do this. And it's funny because you probably know, as you start doing something and then the more practice you have, the better you get at it. So when
Yes.
I go back and watch the first video we did, it's kind of funny looking at it now. And then we are up to, I believe I just uploaded, we have a member portal that they can access all the recorded videos as well. And we uploaded the 234th workout yesterday.
Wow.
So we have had 230 workouts that we have recorded that our members have access to, that anytime they can go 24/7,
So
put it
this
on
is
their
pretty
TV and
interesting from, let's use our IT background and simplify things a little bit to the audience. But, in general, like I have spoken to many people in the personal fitness space, especially during the past 2 or 3 months, and they were all at various stages from doing or taking their business to fully be online. Like the majority have some Zoom classes, they've pivoted one way or another. And in most cases, they use something similar, either Zoom or Google Meet or whatever.
right.
But none of them had already, I mean, some of them were probably working on it nowadays, it's not ready. But none of them had actually thought about, you know what, let's build a membership portal where we have our members accessing the workouts. So is that something that you already had or something that you built because of necessity?
It was something that I built because of necessity, because not everybody could jump on a live, and we couldn't be on a live Zoom, 5-6 times a day, because it's one thing to coach a session or be a
Yeah.
trainer and have people work out and you're correcting them. It's a different thing when you're actually doing the workout yourself with them. Like
Yes,
you can imagine.
you can't repeat the workout 10 times a day.
Exactly, right. Like you're gonna
It
kill
has to be
yourself.
recorded at some point. Yeah.
Right. So we've, like, from day one, we said, okay, we're going to record this and post it, and we started by emailing the link to the video to our members, and then a month into it, I figured, okay, this is just too
So step
archaic.
number one was just record this workout, upload it to a shared space somehow. It's not a portal. It could be your
YouTube
Google
or
Drive
Vimeo
or
or
whatever.
something, right? Yeah.
And just send the link to everyone who missed it, or even people who attended, so that they have a reference. If they want to do it on their own tomorrow at some time, they don't have to attend the live, they can do that.
Exactly.
And then what happens next? What's the next
And
version
then the
of
next
this?
step was, well, we need to have, and then through all of this, we actually ran a challenge. We ran a 6 week challenge online because we were closed and we wanted to get people involved and active and keep them going. Through that challenge, we ended up creating a membership portal, and so they could access the videos. We had mindset videos that we were doing. There was pre-recorded workouts that they could access, or they could jump on the Zoom, and if they missed it, they could go to the video. And in that membership portal, like, it's grown basically since that day.
What was the
Since
challenge for
April
that?
last
Because I understand it's not an easy thing. Like I get a lot of consultation calls about creating a membership site. And usually my first question is, do you have content? Because many people think about it, but they don't have content to put in there yet. And in my opinion, there's no point to go spend any money or time, even if you know how to do it on your own without paying someone. If you don't have something to put there, it will be a waste of your time. You have to have your content first, and then decide whether you can put that online or not. Whether your content can be consumed, this is the other thing, whether it can be consumed without a trainer or a teacher. Some content can, some content can't.
Right. Exactly. So as I said, we had about a month of worth of videos before we created the portal. So we had probably about 20, 30 videos. And then we had some that we got from, other locations in the States that were recording as well. They shared some videos. So we put all
Because you're a
those together.
franchise, you can bring a lot of content
Yes.
from the head
we
office.
brought all that together and said, okay, well, this is our workout, and you also have access to all of this. You can also do these ones, right? And then over time, our own library has grown to the point that I don't need to use anybody else. I have, as I said,
You've got all the content. Yes.
Different 234 different workouts. So not even just different videos with the same workout. There are 234 different workouts. You can literally do one a day for the entire year and not do the same workout twice.
Wow, that's great. And when you're looking at creating a portal for your members, I wanted to give an advice for business owners who are not necessarily in the fitness space, but there are so many different businesses who are thinking about membership portals right now.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I think you might have to edit this out. My wife just pulled and it connected to the car.
You got your wire back?
Yes. Okay. So
okay,
sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, Mo, how would you advise another business owner who is not necessarily in the fitness space, but is thinking about creating a membership website or membership portal? So what is the approach that you took that you see working? And, what would be the advice? Like, what should they do? Where to look for? Like, because most people, they don't even know, where to look for different types of portals or how to structure it or things like that. And I know that I don't want to make it about web designers and developers. That's what we do. But in general, because you have an IT background, you probably knew the steps that you needed to take.
Yes, and I honestly believe it was my background in technology and IT that helped us. Like, we were online before our own headquarters in the States was even able to create the content and be online. We were actually online delivering service about a week to 10 days before our headquarters got everything together to be online and offer other franchise locations tools that they could use.
That they can use, yeah.
And so I went to the tools that I knew. I went to places that I already knew, and I was familiar with, without trying to be an ad for anybody. There's like ClickFunnels, for example, right?
Okay.
So I started using them because I tried to create a WordPress thing on my own, and I'm not a web developer. It was over my head. I'm like, okay, this is too complicated. I need something simple. I need something I can just click and drag and drop, and it's I click preview. It looks good. Okay, publish.
So the first thing that we need to be looking at is to look for something that's simple to use.
Simple to use. Maybe even invest a little bit of money and somebody that has the knowledge to be able to help you set up the foundation, and then you can take it over from there, right? A lot of business owners that are in my industry don't have a technology background. They're either from a fitness background or a business background.
And that scares people sometimes.
Yes, and because they don't know what they need, they go talk to a consultant, and the consultant says, "Oh yeah, to do that, it's going to cost you $20,000."
And then here you go, you think like, "Oh, you've got this big brick wall that you have to get over."
Right, but you don't need a $20,000 sort of a private portal when there's already almost like portal in a box packages. You pay a monthly subscription, a couple $100 a month, and now you have access to with access to YouTube. You can go watch YouTube on how do I create this, how do I do that, and there's a lot of tools available to be able to do that, right? And if you can hire someone that's tech savvy, even or
Yeah, I don't know anyone who
be a
does
web
that.
developer. They don't need to be a web developer. They don't need to be a
Yeah.
consultant to figure out the basics. Like if you can figure out things on Facebook that changes every day, you should be able to figure this
So
out.
this is brilliant, because like I always tell people, there's always a learning curve. Like
Yes.
there are some technologies that are more complicated than others, but even if you go with the easiest one, don't expect it to work out of the box without your own intervention. So you're gonna have to spend a little bit of time learning your way around whatever software you're using. And if you go for the cheapest one, it might work, but it might be too complicated and will waste a lot of your time trying to figure things out. And this is not necessarily to go and say, go with the most expensive option because maybe you can't afford it, and maybe it's still not very user friendly. So the first thing is use something that exists. You don't
Lost you
need to.
there.
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now? Yeah, we're back.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, there was a freeze, a little freeze. So I'm saying the first thing is use something that exists. Do not reinvent the wheel. There are so many ready-made. You called it a portal in a box. That's a good description. So there are many ready-made membership websites and e-learning websites like learning management systems. That there's so many out there. Some of them they have their own platforms. Like okay, I'm gonna do some ads now. Thinkific, a Vancouver-based
Yeah.
company. So no, there's Thinkific, there's Teachable, you've mentioned ClickFunnels, there's so many. And then there are those who also are plugins that work on top of a WordPress website. So if you have a
Yes.
website, your existing website that's already built using WordPress, there are a couple of learning management system plugins, actually more than a couple, but the two that I like, that I know of and that I've worked with before, they work very well. So there's a couple of plugins that you can use on top of your WordPress, and all what you need is someone to just do the plumbing for that, like the foundation and plumbing. So there's a little bit of tech work to make this ready for use, and then once it's ready, you could just start to upload your content, and it's so easy for you to manage how to create a lesson, how to put a video in a lesson, how to remove a video, how to remove a lesson, whatever. It's just, it becomes like a regular day-to-day management task, and it's not technical. It's just uploading, literally, it's uploading a video to a website, which is something you do if you use Instagram or or Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Once the content is uploaded, then it's just a matter of making sure that it looks and it's in the right place and it's good to go. That's
And
one
you're
of my
saying
daily tasks literally these
you-
days, right?
you've
That's
ended
what
up
I do.
using ClickFunnels at the end, or you only use ClickFunnels to do the landing pages?
No, I use ClickFunnels. ClickFunnel actually has a membership site
Good.
template
And you
that
could see like who's doing what lesson, right? Like it tells you.
it's you can't see progress that way, like a
Okay.
learning management
Also,
system.
it's a membership site, but it's not a learning management system.
Right,
Okay.
right. It's just a membership site. You can assign security, so you assign people with certain security permissions, so they can only see, like, if the site has
Yeah.
X amount of content, you can say, okay, these people can only see this part of it.
Yeah, you could have like tiers, like I don't know, silver, gold, platinum, whatever.
Exactly. So you can set it up that way. So maybe you have, in the fitness industry, maybe you offer nutrition, but not all your members pay for nutrition. So you can have your nutrition section only available to those who pay for
Who
it.
pay for nutrition? Yeah,
Right.
because I would assume that having a gym, you already have paying members anyway, right? And
Yes.
if they join the gym, they don't have to go to join the online anymore. You will add them automatically,
Yes.
and then you assign the stuff that their members, like, they have access to. You
Yeah.
would assign them that stuff through the portal already, but then you could come up with new services that are tailor-made now, that didn't exist before. And now that you have an online portal, the sky is the limit. Like, so you could have, I don't know, like meal planning or
Mhm. Absolutely. So I'm a big believer in finding the good in every bad situation. Like one of the
Yeah.
things that we do at Fit at Mary Fit is before your body can change, this has to change. So we work on the
Oh God,
mind a
yes.
lot. Just like you're doing your workouts, but we are always talking and encouraging you to. Uh, I think we're probably one of the only gym, if not, I don't know, like that I know of, that actually has a mindset book library that our members check out. So they borrow books, just like a library, and it's all the books that we have read ourselves and a team. The Atomic Habits and
Mm.
Limitless and various books that I have read that have helped me throughout my personal development and my business and my personal life. That I share the content and everything that I've learned, and our members are now borrowing those books to go read them. Right. So um, once you get to the point that you're actually shifting people's mindsets, now they can find the good in every bad situation. The reason I said this was when the lockdown happened, the first lockdown happened, I was through, again, our business model is a high touch, to the point that our members did not open the door when they arrived at the studio. We open the door for them. That's the level of service that we offer. We open the door, we greet them, we high five them. We open the door when they leave. We call their names by their first name. We know, their cats and dogs and kids' names. It's truly a sort of like, when you go to a really 7-star hotel, the high-end hotels,
Yeah.
before they walk in, they know, oh, Mr. Amr, welcome to the hotel, and they know exactly who you are before you even said hi. That's the type of level of service that we offered. Now, how do we do that online?
It
All of a
should be
sudden,
better because you have technology now. It will remember for you.
right? But there's restrictions even when we offer in-person training. You
Yeah.
can't touch people. You got to be a staying away,
But yeah,
and
the touch, yeah, the high touch part is hard
all of
because
that
you
is
can't
gone.
correct somebody's posture, for example,
So you got to get
online.
creative as giving them cues and
Yeah.
helping them, right? But that's the sort of the bad part. Our business model had to change. We are now doing something online. We have to be different. And okay, but the good thing of it is I have people that have actually done workouts with us that have joined as members for, even if it was a short period of time, from UK. I've had members from the island. I've had members from Calgary. I've had members from
Wow.
Vernon. I have a member that moved to Vernon right now, but she's still a member and she works out online. So we went from servicing Port Coquitlam to a global company, literally,
This is
because
what
of
online
technology.
does for you. Yeah, like it opens, I mean, the pros and cons. It opens your services to the world, but also everybody else in the world becomes your competition. So it even calls for better service. And I can
Yes.
see you're doing it because, like, if I go online to look for personal training, for example, or to just look for workouts, number one, Dr. YouTube will have so many free options, right? So I don't even have to pay or become a member anywhere. But if I want something that's focused, that works for me, that where I can actually track my progress, then I have to become a member somewhere because YouTube is not going to track my progress. And it's also harder to search for the stuff that you want or for the stuff that you need and you don't even know that you need. So you got to become a member somewhere. And what you'll do, you Google it, and then you read about different places, and then where or how would you choose one or the other? It's not easy.
Mm.
So I believe that going the extra mile and doing the best service, like it's amazing. How would somebody in the UK end up doing personal training with a trainer based in Vancouver, British Columbia, or like, in Port
So
Coquitlam?
the interesting is we are our core values literally spell the word core. community ownership, relationships, and excellence.
Wow.
And we are extremely community based. And the person that was in UK was a friend of a new person that had joined just before COVID hit.
Yeah, and they
she
want to work out
enjoyed that.
together. Yep.
So before all this happened, and she enjoyed it so much, she loved the atmosphere and then the experience, that she told her friend in the UK, because everything was on lockdown, well, why don't you do this? And you know, I'm doing it, I'm enjoying it. And that's how it's all started. I had friends, I had people tell their friends in other parts of the Canada, my gym's doing this, jump on here, you can get this, right? That's how it all started. And
So-
that's all because we went online, right?
So here's another lesson. Referrals are very, very, very important. And
That's how
I
business
can't
is born.
stress that enough for everyone, because even like my nickname is the Internet Guy, and I'm the one helping business owners go online and do more business online. But what I always tell them, look, if you think your website on its own is going to bring leads to you, you're mistaken. I will not promise you this. And if you see someone promising you that if you spend, I don't know, $1,000 advertising a month, you get a ton of leads online, believe me, you will get leads, but they're not probably the right fit. There's nothing better than a referral from a human being. People want to do business, people want to do things and buy services from either somebody they know and trust, or someone who knows someone they know and trust. And
Absolutely.
that's about it.
Absolutely. I've spent countless dollars on Facebook ads. And I have people that walk in and they're like, you know, because a friend told them. And when I
Yeah.
talk to them, like, yeah, I've been getting your newsletter and I've seen your Facebook ads for the last year and a half. And, you know, Susie told me about you guys, so I decided to come in. So
Uh-huh.
yes,
So,
it
yeah.
helps because it sort of has that, you know, like it's familiar because they've seen it so many times. Now a trusted friend
Yeah.
has recommended, so they put two and two together, and that's
So
what it is, right?
the ads work to raise the awareness a little bit, but they will not lead to conversion. And that's very important, because people think it's the amount of money they pay. So all what they do, they go up the amount of money thinking that Facebook ads are not converting now because I'm only spending $300. Maybe if I spend 700, no, it's not the amount of dollars. It's just the nature that, the nature of search engine optimization realm, or like, don't want to say the word domain. Like the nature of SEO, like any advertising in general, like even before the internet advertising that used to come in newspapers, there's a gap that exists between me seeing the ad and me taking action.
Yes.
So what accelerates me taking action is actually getting a word of mouth from someone I know. And that's the, you know, the best marketing tool anyone can ever have, a satisfied customer.
Yes, for sure. Or, you know, maybe the pain that I have a solution to is so painful at that moment that you see the ad that you say, okay, well, they said they can't fix this,
Yeah.
and I'm suffering.
If it catches you at the right time, yeah.
Yes.
The problem with ads, you don't know.
0.001% of time.
Exactly. You don't know which part of the customer journey they're at. Like, where are they ready to buy, or they're just doing research, or like I don't know. I think all these big networks, they know everything about us, and they probably know who's ready to buy, but that will be the next service. It's not released yet.
Well, yes. So, like, again, like, you can look at the pandemic and say, okay, there's a lot of negative, but at the same time, there's a lot of good in there. There's a lot of positive that has come out of it. A lot of businesses sadly went out of business and they don't exist, but a lot of new things came to market. A lot of new things happened. A lot of invention happened. Innovation happened. And I'm looking at my own business here going, okay, I've had to, right now, if you come into our studio, we have, like, it doesn't look anything like our first in-person.
Oh, you started. Yeah. Yeah.
We got like 8x8 squares actually marked off on the floor, and there's dividers that we put in that, like, I built myself. This is like, none of this is a
Oh, the
requirement.
plastic
Yeah, yeah.
plexiglass.
So I put all that in place, and we limit it. There's a reservation system. People can come in and they can do their own workout, or they can follow a workout that we post. And we have our staff there to supervise and make sure that they follow all the rules and they don't do anything that's dangerous, and they guide them and they coach them. So that, again, is a complete different business model. Now you're going into a different level altogether again. And think about it from a coach's perspective. If you have to coach something and you've been trained to do it this way, now the next morning you walk into the place, you've been told because somebody made an announcement, well, you can't do that anymore. You got to do it differently. And now you're going, okay, well, what do I need to do? And the level of adjustments and shift and everything that you have to do is great. The amount of investment we have made in equipment, because everybody has their own equipment now. Nobody shares.
Oh, yeah, because you cannot share the equipment. Yeah, right. That's right.
Unlike the big box gyms that, people come and go and they share things and then they're in charge of cleaning. That's not what happens. Like, we now have to make sure that they have their own equipment in their own box. They come in, they go into their own box, they do the workout. Once they're done, they leave. And then we reset, we clean, we sanitize. And, I've invested in all natural stuff because, again, it's my health as well.
Yes, of course.
Your health, right? To make sure that everything stays as sanitized and as clean for the next person that comes to use it. Because just because somebody else used it, that doesn't mean they should get the seconds. It should always be ready to go, no matter when they come in, when they show up. They should always get the same quality, same service, right? And I think one of the things you touched on is referrals. Yes, we've got people coming in from the ads, but our biggest growth has been from referrals. Whole family coming in, mother starts and then they bring the father in, and then now the kids are old enough to come in, so they're bringing the kids in, and they all have a family membership and they come together when possible. It's all because of the sense of the community that we've created, and it's that sense of belonging to something. I see your cat walking across the screen.
Yes. He likes to bomb all my Zoom meetings.
That'll make for a nice bloopers video.
Yeah, usually it's just his voice meowing in the background, but sometimes he wants his tail to be in.
On camera.
Come on. Yeah, so you're saying like the families that just bring all the members.
Yes, so it's that sense of belonging and that community. It's like, as you said, you can go onto YouTube and get a workout. That's not the value.
Yeah.
The value, I can go, like, why would I go to Amazon, not go to Amazon and go to a local shop to buy the same cup or same sticker or paper or whatever it is? I can probably get it on Amazon for less money, but it's the experience.
It's the experience. Yes, indeed.
I would drive to farther away, pay more money to get a service or a product because of the experience that came with it, right? And the same thing is what we've tried to apply to our environment, our studio, is the experience we offer by knowing people by their first names. And people walk in for the first time, we haven't even met yet, but they get called by their first name and get greeted by their first name. And it's a shock to them. That how do you even know it's me? Well, I've taken
research.
To get to know you before you
come here.
Right?
Yes.
And
indeed,
that is the experience. Like, I've had countless people tell me, I can't believe you guys actually call me by my first name when I'm working out. Like, you guys know me, and I've been to other places. I don't even know I exist. I don't even know I walked in or whether I left or not. Nobody knows if I'm.
Yeah, it's like a big mill. Like some other places are like, it's a big mill. You get greeted by the receptionist. You get in, and that's it. No one speaks with you.
Right. And that's why we want it to be different. So it's that experience that we've created, and that community is what brings people back. They don't come for the workout. Yes, it's a big part of it, but they come for the experience.
The main service is the workout, but the byproduct is a better experience, or like, I don't want to call it a byproduct. Maybe I'm wrong here.
Well,
I
I
mean,
would
like,
say,
the whole thing is the experience, but it all starts with the workout.
right. So as like, we used to say it in IT, we're in the customer service business, when that just happens to deal with IT.
Yeah.
Same thing
You're
happens here, right? We are in the helping people business. We're in the building a community friendly environment, inviting environment business that happens to be centered around a workout,
Yeah, you're
right?
absolutely right. And that's a great way to put it. Also, when you speak of IT, it's customer service based on, or based around, an IT service. But at the end
Yes.
of the day, it's customer service. It's kind of I can see that because it comes from the help desk background. Like, we focus on the customer, not on the problem. The
Right,
problem
because
will
they
fix
don't,
it, not a problem. But
nobody cares if why the printer doesn't work. They just care that they can't print the report. That's
exactly.
due
So
for
you
a
need to
meeting in
figure
10
out
minutes.
how they can print the report, rather than spend most of your time thinking about what's wrong with that specific printer. Maybe you have another alternative. Maybe there's another printer in, I don't know, somewhere in a warehouse, or
Yeah, yeah. So my biggest advice to fellow business owners, doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're dealing with people, if you're not just a widget manufacturer that just manufactures widgets and sells them, and you don't really interact with people, you're dealing with people. You have to offer a solution, to a human solution, if that makes any
yes,
sense. Like, you
indeed.
have to be able to give them the feeling that they matter. Because let's face it, in this 21st century, everything is go, go, go. Everything is behind a screen, and everybody's got their face in their phone, and there's no human to human interaction. There's not that much of it anymore. And people are missing it. And they've got to the point that, the older generation, and when I say
Yeah.
older, like, people of my age, and they're like 40s and 50s, are starting to get to the point that they want that interaction. They
Of
want
course.
somebody to
Yeah.
actually care and show interest, that genuinely, I want to know how your day has been. No, I'm not just saying how's your day, just to have said how's your day. I actually care to know how your day has been, and if there's anything I can do to make you feel better. Our motto is, we want to be the best 30 minutes of your day.
I
So
love that.
when you walk through our doors, you will leave the studio 100% happier than the moment you walked in,
Or the Zoom call.
or the Zoom. And funny
Yeah.
enough, people have got addicted to it, and then they're like, oh yeah, if I don't do a workout, I feel like something's missing in my day, and I'm
Yeah.
agitated all the time, right? And one big thing that gets missed with all the lockdowns and restrictions is, people don't understand that the only way to beat this thing is to be healthy. You're gonna get
Yes,
sick.
indeed.
You're
Indeed.
gonna get sick. It's how
You're gonna
badly
get
your
sick from
body
watching the
reacts,
news.
right?
Like,
So
yeah,
be
yeah,
healthy, be active, stay,
yeah.
like, instead of, like, stopping, like, we had a joke going at one point that, they shut down the gyms, but, you can go on your way home from work, you can go buy a pack of smokes and buy a bottle of wine and get a greasy burger and go home and be healthy. That was a going joke in the industry, basically, right? Because
Yeah,
people literally
exactly.
were
Get a
told
heart
you
attack
can't,
alone and no one would know. No.
and that's what it came down to. Like,
Yeah,
all the things that were accessible were things that were actually not good for your health,
yeah, yeah.
but the things that could actually help people were being shut down
Closed. Yeah, we'll
and closed. People had no choice, right? Um,
we,
you can't go to the park, you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't walk with your friends, you can't run. Well,
yeah, last year it was crazier. I think like this year it was a little bit better, but the problem is like the message is confusing, because one day they say one thing, the next day they change it. And it's like, even with the vaccine, oh, take any vaccine we give you. Okay. Oh, but don't take the AstraZeneca because we're only giving it to people who are above 55. Okay. Oh, no, you know what? We're now going to start another trial with the AstraZeneca being given to the teachers. Okay. It's like, hey, guys, can you just sit together, decide what you want to tell the people, have one person only speak, and that's it. Like, we seriously, I don't want the premier is saying one thing, Dr. Henry is saying another, somebody else is saying something else, and then the media comes with news from another province or another country or whatever, and it becomes too confusing. And then
I think a lot of people are actually confused because I have like, as I said, like we've had to change our business model. We've gone from a group fitness, which we can't have anymore, to an individualized workout setup, and people are confused. Like the latest one was you can't have group fitness. Group fitness is
yeah,
on pause, but individual workouts and one-on-one personal training are
you
allowed.
can, yeah, up to two people.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain people,
So one
this is-
person and a trainer is okay as long as it's the same trainer and it's the same one person. But
right. And you can also
don't
do
bring a
your own
friend.
workout. You can also do individual workouts. That's why all the gyms
Yeah.
are open. You can go to a
Yes.
gym and do your own workout and
Alone.
leave.
Yeah, of course you
Right?
can. Yeah,
And as long as all the safety protocols are being met, that's fine.
exactly.
Right?
With all the
But that's not
sanitizing and
clear.
whatever. Yeah,
That's not clear. People get confused, and some people
yeah,
don't understand. Some
I
people
know.
get it. It's just
Oh,
there's
it's
a lot
like even for outdoor, Mo, like in November when they started to kind of tighten the rules a little bit more, they said, okay, you know what, if you're below 19 years of age, you can still play outside, sports outside. So team sports are allowed as long as there's no scrimmage or something. I can't remember the exact wording, but if you're below 19, you're okay. It's the adults that are a problem. And then I remember somebody asked the question, what's wrong with playing sports, like adults playing sports? And the good doctor said, oh, I have no problem with the sport itself. The problem is that they gather before or after for a beer. So
I remember that.
so the solution was like, okay, there's no adult soccer, for example, right? Okay, well, guess what happened? People were still meeting for the beer, just not playing the sport.
Yes.
So it's worse. So you're getting unhealthy because you're getting the beer, but you're not getting your workout.
If the
And it's
bars
like,
were open, you could still go to the bar.
yeah, and the bars were open. Yeah, and it's like, so people were meeting at the bars when they were not supposed to, but and that was like what was so confusing. Now I think we're allowed to play sports outside as long as it's
No,
10 people. No,
not at all.
outside.
Outside, yes.
Outside.
Up to
10 people, the same 10 people every time, and you have to maintain a distance. So you could take shots or whatever. I don't know. It's just becoming too tiring and too confusing.
I know some of the, we actually have a lot of, I guess you could call them frontline workers as members that come in, and either nurses or teachers.
Yeah, they're under tremendous pressure. Yes.
Right. And this is like, they walk in and like, thank God I'm able to come in and do this because this is what's keeping me sane. There's a lot of pressure out there on everybody. And by taking the activities that help relieve that stress, help them reset to be able to go out there and deal with it a day and day after, day in and day out, to me, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, you know,
sick and more prone to getting sick. Right?
If we have proper safety protocols in place with the number of people, with sanitization, with booking in advance so that, you know, you have a limited number of people in a big space and things like that, it should always be an option because this is the stress relief for many people. And as you rightfully said, many of them are frontline workers who are under tremendous pressure. The only way they can keep their sanity is to have that release valve available. And this is not something, because yeah, you can go walk around the neighborhood on your own or with a family member, and that's good, that's fine. If you can do that, do it. But the sports or the fitness or the workouts as a release valve is also very important. Like no one wants this to be taken away. I mean, and it's a good thing that it's not taken away. So I'm not giving anyone any ideas, but
no, but you know what? Like you can get sick anywhere. It doesn't matter. Like you can, like, you know, you can go to a supermarket these days and I think people just got tired of all the rules, so nobody really. 90% of people out there in supermarkets,
Yeah.
they don't follow any of the rules or
Oh
the
yeah. I mean,
marketing,
it's not. This is the thing. People
right?
believe that the mask is a shield of some that has some magic, and it's not. Like, I still don't want you in my face, even if you're wearing a mask. I don't want you to come within 10 centimeters. That's too close, even before COVID. You know what I mean? But like, some people just like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm tired, I'm not going to think about it anymore. They just put the mask on the face, and that's it. And I feel, I feel for them. It's like, it's hard to maintain all this for longer than a year, and all the conflicting messages that you hear in the media. And then I'm not only blaming the government, I'm also blaming the media. Not everything is worth broadcasting, guys. Like,
Yes.
sometimes you need to take the news, whatever it is that you call news, digest it and keep it, because tomorrow there might be another change. So just wait for a little while. You know, not everything is breaking news. And I don't understand, as a media, you have a responsibility to give us the news, but only wait until it's actually something that's not confusing. So just give it a little bit of time, you know, because this is new for everyone. This is new for us as people.
If anybody in the media is going to be watching this,
Yeah.
please report something positive. I'm sure there's a lot of good happening out there too.
I know.
Don't focus
Yeah.
on the negatives all the time. And unfortunately, you turn on the radio and every news station, it's all the bad things that get reported. Yes, they need to be reported, but at the same time, I'm sure the murders that happen and the the racism that happened. I'm sure there's a lot of good that also happened that nobody even mentions, right?
Yeah, I think that is having a toll on the mental health for many people, you know, myself included. Sometimes I feel like, you know, like I'm tired already, right? Mentally. But I still do my workouts. I'm a soccer guy, so I go play outside, whether it's alone or with a group of people when it's allowed or whatever it is. That's my release valve, and I'm not gonna let anyone take that away. And that's it. Just try to think positive, stay positive, talk to people. I've been working from home forever, so it's not COVID related. Like, when I left the corporate world, I've decided that I want to start my business, work from home, I don't want to say more time with the family because I'm working most of the time, but at least we're in the same physical location. I can hear them, they can hear me. We can tell each other off. Hey, you're too loud.
But no, exactly. Yeah,
but you feel isolated if you work from home for a long time, especially if you're not used to it. You do feel isolated. So having a workout, even a virtual workout with a group of people, would help you. Going to a gym or a fitness studio when it's allowed, and when it's within the rules, and every precaution has been taken, is also advised, because it's good for your health. Seeing and communicating with other human beings is good for your health. So
yes, absolutely.
Don't do it alone.
No, and there's a lot of benefits to being part of a community that is going through the same journey, essentially, right? There's that support structure is extremely valuable to have that in place. It's one thing to have a friend or a coach even, but it's different to have teammates, right?
Yes, yes.
Like
and you can gamify
too, right?
You can gamify it a little. You can gamify it a little bit, like, create some healthy competition with your friend, and who's gonna, I don't know, finish these 5 workouts before the other, things like that. And it makes you healthier. It keeps your mind off the bad news when there is bad news. And definitely, you're healthier, not only physically, but also mentally.
But to be honest, I know we've gone over our time, but just one thing I really want to get out there is a lot of it comes down to having a vision for yourself. If you have
having
a vision
having a vision for yourself,
having goals essentially for where do you see yourself, and and then taking the actions that take you closer to that vision or that goal is key. COVID happened. A lot of people gained 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. But
Wow.
at the same time, I can give you people that lost 50 pounds over the last 9 months.
Not over stress. They lost 50
It's
pounds as a
they,
goal. Yeah.
as a goal, and they're eating right, they're exercising,
Yeah.
and they're doing it all online. You don't have to be in a gym. You just need to belong to
Yeah.
a good, supportive community with the right minded people and the right coaches to be able to help you and support you to get there. There's countless people that we have had in our studio or online in our studio
Yeah. So
that
if
have
you can't
lost.
go to the studio will come to you.
Yes, and they've got amazing results, and they've done it all virtually with us. So it's
Perfect.
possible, but you just have to know where you're heading. It's like I've used this example in some of the sort of mindset talks that I do is imagine living life without a vision is like getting onto a boat in the open ocean without a destination and a compass, and then hoping
Yeah.
that you land somewhere that you like. You may or
Yeah.
may not. But if you don't land somewhere that you don't like, you don't have the right to complain because you had no idea where you wanted to go. So life is the same way. You want to
Yeah.
make sure that you have a destination, you know where you're going, take appropriate action to get there. If you get there and it's not to your liking or what you expected, that's okay.
Change the
You can,
destination. But at least
yep,
you've
and
learned
then
that
you
you
go.
always need a destination anyway, and that there is help available for you to reach that destination.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. That's a great parting message, Mo. Thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
I hope that this episode is not going to be that long. I'm going to edit here and there, so it's going to be more or less about, well, 1 hour. Most of them are anyway, but I've been told that people listen to my podcast sometimes when they're running, sometimes when they're cooking. So I'm very grateful for those of you guys who are listening to us. And I hope I'm not boring you every couple of weeks. I try to, as much as possible, bring somebody from an industry that not many people know much about. And in most cases, we discuss business, we discuss life, and we discuss the world of the internet.
Awesome. I really appreciate the opportunity, Amr, and it was a pleasure chatting with you and the audience. I hope you take something out of this conversation that we had today and use it in your own lives. Hopefully, there's a message in there for somebody and for every single one of you guys who will be listening to this podcast.
Perfect. Thank you, Mo. And I'm going to put your website address below the episode. So if people want to find out a little bit more about how to join even the online part, they can just get in touch with you.
Let's do one better. Let's put our Stronger Together Facebook group in there so they can actually join that
Perfect.
group because we do. I'll send it to you because in the Stronger Together group, it's free to join. All of our members are in there and it's open to anybody who wants to join. And we share a lot of good
Excellent.
good resources in there that doesn't cost anybody anything. If anything, it will be extremely useful for you.
That's even one more. Thank you, Mo.
You're welcome. Fantastic. Thank you.